everybody. We're live here on Trade Talks, the blue collar business podcast hosted on the Glass Guys YouTube channel. This is our second go around. Jay and I were just talking for 10 minutes off camera because I forgot to hit the record button. So,
because you weren't aware?
I was not being aware. Let's use that as our segue today. Today's topic that we're going to be talking about is the skilled trades. And what are some of the key components of being a successful skilled tradesman? Jay, give me two very important skill sets that somebody maybe that's never been in, maybe they were in real estate and now they think the real estate market is shit and they want something more stable and they want camaraderie and they want to learn a skilled trade. They want to come over to My Architectural Glass, My Shower or D3. What are some important things this person must possess in order to be successful in this organization?
Well, first and foremost, they need to be coachable. They need to be coachable in not only the aspect of the trade itself, but also the personality that it requires to go along with it.
Coachability is a massive hack for any individual to possess. Sometimes it can feel vulnerable, or maybe like it seems like you're being weak, but that's not it at all, because a lot of times what it does is it triggers reciprocity. So if I was wanting to learn something from Jay and he recognized that I wanted to learn, if he sees that I'm listening to the advice that he's giving and I'm actually acting on it, it usually triggers that individual to want to help out even more because they feel so proud that person took their advice and is succeeding from that advice. So coachability is a massive hack, and a lot of people have a hard time doing that because their pride gets in the way. That's why they say there's an old biblical saying, I think, or I don't know how I would phrase that, but pride goeth before the fall. And so coachability is a massive hack. What's another one that an individual should kind of come with? Again, if they want to be successful in the fastest way possible.
Well, coachability, like I said, is number one. Patience also.
Yes, and let's not
key.
confuse patience with ambition. You know, we're saying patience that it's going to take 10,000 hours to be extremely successful at this job, at a minimum.
Yeah, you're not going to be a journeyman professional glazer overnight.
It's not going to happen. It doesn't work that. You need to experience a lot of failures, a lot of successes, a lot of this up and down process, 10,000 hours, like they say.
And the failure is part of the growth.
100%.
We learn from all of our mistakes, that we've done that throughout time. And
I love anytime that comes up.
Maybe not you, but most people do.
Yeah, and I would agree with that.
Yeah.
But when I hear that, I always think about Michael Jordan. They always talk about how many game-winning shots Michael Jordan has. He's got the most game-winning shots. They never say he's got the most misses, which happens to be the case. He has the most missed game-winning shots as well. So the point of the story is here, you just got to keep taking shots. And so just through attrition, you'll end up finding and narrowing down that right path. That's why that 10,000-hour rule is so important.
Right.
Which I wonder what 10,000 hours at a 40-hour work week. Let me see. What's another skill set an individual should possess?
Well, in the skilled trades, a lot of times we're dealing with certain deadlines or things that need to get done in a certain time frame, and it doesn't bode well for those who are not available. So I would say availability is a very big one.
Massive. I mean,
and when we say availability, we're not saying, you know what, fuck my family, I'm going to work. Not that.
No.
It's when you're supposed to be at work, you show up, you get the job done, you stay until the job's done, and then you go home.
And you enjoy your family or your downtime as you should. But also being aware, like you alluded to earlier, being aware is a massive, massive thing. One of my biggest pet peeves is the auto reply on an email. I will never, no one has ever received an auto reply email from me because I don't care where I am in the world. If I got good news that I've been waiting on, I want to hear it. more importantly, because I know how it feels when I'm looking for a response, I don't want them to feel like I'm not always available, because even though there might be you're having a baby, you're on vacation, you're getting married, whatever the case may be, there's never been a time where most individuals go more than 2 or 3 hours without looking at their phone. And then begs the question, if you had really good news on a deal you've been chasing for 6 months, wouldn't you want to know about that? Like, I can't think of anything to make my trip or whatever it is I'm doing better than receiving good news from work that I'm going to get a commission on while I'm on vacation.
Absolutely. You and I experienced something like that not long ago with a couple individuals who used an auto reply, and it was, I'll be out of the office until such and such. Please reach out to so and so for help. Well, then you reached out to the other person and you got another auto reply because that person was out of the
And
office.
then know what I said after that? Fuck this. I'm done.
Absolutely.
And I put it to the bottom of the pile. I don't even know if that thing ever came to fruition. And so that opportunity is dead. All because I don't feel that I can get a hold of anybody there. And in my eyes, even though there might be perfectly good reasons or excuses for this, to me, it's just human nature. I don't want to deal with it. It's somebody I can't get a hold of.
There's another example of not being aware.
Yeah, so awareness is massive. So awareness, coachability, and patience.
Availability and patience.
These are all, and you don't need to have a 4-year college degree to be available, to have patience, to be coachable, or be aware.
That's right.
And if you possess those 4 things, and of course, those are perishable skills. So if you're actively possessing those things, you can move up the ladder pretty quickly here in Southwest Florida, not only with us, but really with any company, because you're going to stand out above the herd.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I want to give a shout out to someone.
Who?
That would be my wife, Jessica.
Oh, big shout out.
I'm actually giving her praise for once.
Okay. Why is that?
So she is a perfect example of what we're talking about here. Somebody who came from a different world. She was in retail for 18 years.
Yep, Banana Republic.
Yeah.
Bought a lot of stuff there. Got a lot of employee discounts.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
So she was in retail for 18 years, and it was just, that's a rough life.
Oh.
It really is, especially when you're raising a family. And she had an opportunity to get into her current profession, something she's never done before, and it was a leap of faith. Really, it was, you know what? Maybe I'm going to take a little bit of a pay cut. The lifestyle's going to be better, but I think I can excel at this. And she did excel, and she was just awarded just this week with the top sales leader of the year for her entire company. Now, this is a company of 2,800 employees.
That's massive.
Very massive.
That's huge.
But that was all part of possessing these skills that we're talking about here. If you have that ability to be coachable, to be available, and you have patience to learn, you can do anything.
I couldn't agree more. Big shout out to Jess Ryback. You still got it. You still got it. So that's cool. One other thing I want to touch on about being aware. We were just recently at Glass Build in Atlanta. We came back via airplane. And I get so much anxiety going to the airport.
Oh, God, yes.
Especially where we're sitting in coach. And you can almost feel the pent-up energy before you get on the plane, because you got certain people that they just need to get on the plane right away and hurry up and sit down. Then you got other ones that really, once they get to the airport, they're in vacation mode, and they don't care how slow they move, even if it's at the expense of slowing everybody else down. But the whole exercise of boarding and unboarding an airplane, it tests my patience every single time. How much faster would we get on and off these planes if nobody was allowed to bring a bag on the plane? Meaning everybody had to check everything. So once you go through security, you check your bags at the street, you go through security, no bags. How much faster do you think we would get on and off these planes?
It would be light years faster. However, probably shooting myself in the foot because I know you, like I, do not like to check our bags.
I don't like checking the bags, but not at the expense of the huffing and puffing. And then when I finally get on the plane, I'm in 19A and I look up and all my shit, there's nowhere to put my stuff, but nobody's sitting in my row yet. Like, the first thing I want to do is take all the shit out of there because that's where my bag goes. And so now I got to go backwards. So now when I get off the plane, I got to worry about people passing my luggage. It gives me massive amounts of anxiety.
Yeah.
And so again, how much faster do you think it would be if there was, or maybe I thought, why aren't they loading from the back of the plane forward? I mean, you get this awkward part where everybody loads from the front and you kind of stand there and you got different body parts at different heights. And usually it's kind of this awkward silence of staring at each other and don't look at my phone. And
someone wheels their suitcase by and wails you in the knee.
Yeah, or the funny bone, which isn't very funny.
Yep.
I feel like there's just a lot of room for improvement or leaning out that process to make it quicker.
It would be interesting to know if anyone out there knows why they do it the way they do it.
My guess is that they load the plane from the front to the back, because if they went to the back to the front, again, remember, you're entering the plane from the front. So if people were going in the back, instead of carrying their luggage and shit with them all the way to the back, they might find it easier to start stuffing it in the front. And so I think, again, it comes to the luggage issue.
So it's another one of those things where we're dealing with adults that act like children.
You've seen it in the airport. I mean, people watching some of these people should not even be on an airplane.
How about the guy behind you?
Talking on speakerphone in public, to me, is grounds for arrest. This guy's on a plane with people on both sides of him.
Let's unpack that a little bit. That was
screaming on the microphone. I want to kill him. And, you know, tension's already high on an airplane, so you can't do anything nefarious. Otherwise, you'll be blacklisted.
So let's tell this story real quick, because you were about to doze off, and we were sitting there on the runway still waiting to taxi. And matter of fact, I think we might have started to taxi. And the guy right behind you, who sounded like the Zohan, gets on his phone, and I have 2 kids to feed, and you're not helping me, and I am coming after you, and like threatening a woman. Threatening this person.
Everybody on the plane could hear this guy. It was uncomfortable. Most people wouldn't say anything.
So at that point, I was sitting, the seat I was sitting in, the stewardess or flight attendants were sitting directly across, seated towards me.
Yeah.
And it was an exit row. So they had to come and say, you know, are you okay with the exit? And, you know, will you take that responsibility? So when she came to me, she's saying, and this gentleman's still on the phone, and she's asking me this. I said, I don't know, I can't hear you. And she knew what was up. She kind of laughed about it. So guy finally hangs up. A few minutes later, he gets a phone call, answers it, waits about 10 seconds, and puts the fucking thing on speaker.
That's
in the middle of a plane.
I'm embarrassed to even do that.
It was a full flight too.
I can't even wrap my head around it. I don't even know if I could do it under a dare. Because most of the people I would do it with, I don't trust what they're going to say while it's on speaker, number one. And two, I just wasn't raised that way. It's inconsiderate.
Right.
And shout out to the stewardess for being aware. She saw that we were aggravated, kind of rolling her eyes. She came over and handed me the earbuds to plug in for the thing, which I didn't ask for, but I wanted. And so to me, kudos to that flight attendant for being massively aware, because that made my experience just a little bit better. I was trying to jam my seat back and make his life uncomfortable because it was just that loud. It was one of those voices that when you hear it, the leaves just fall off the trees.
Yeah.
And it wasn't soothing. It wasn't collaborative. It was threatening and bullying. Everything what we don't like to hear in sales, actually.
So, gentleman's on the phone, on speakerphone. While this is going on, the pilot gets on and informs us that there's a problem with a sensor that detects the speed of the left engine. So they're getting someone on to look at it. So they come to find out they're sending us back to the gate, and we're going to have to get off and get on another plane. So we get back to the gate, we pull up, and some people were sleeping, and I'm like, oh, are we there?
Yeah.
So this gentleman says, yeah, you were right. This gentleman says, oh, what is going on? What is going on? And the gentleman next to him told him that we were returning to the gate. We had to get on a different plane. And this whole time I'm thinking, you would have fucking known that if you weren't on the phone yelling at someone and not listening.
Yeah. And making it hard for us to hear. But luckily we were able to hear without being frustrated. And some of those people that were bitching about having to go back to the gate, the first thing that went through my head is, thank God they found the problem with the engine while we were still on the ground and not in the air. So it's a matter of perspective.
Yeah.
Oh, this is ruining my trip. What are they going to do for me? I'm like, what are they going to do for me? They're saving your life. Like, there could be a problem with the engine. In the scheme of things, it's not the end of the world. And they actually moved us pretty quick. I don't even think we
They
were
did a great job.
inconvenienced more than an hour.
They did a great job.
And
Shout
just
out to Delta Airlines.
Delta. They got the big D. They got a bunch of extra planes just hanging around there.
Well, I think it was fortunate because we were in Atlanta, and Atlanta, I believe, is their hub.
Mm.
So that may have been part of it. I don't know. We got lucky.
The other thing I was thinking about as it's getting colder here, when we were in Atlanta, it was 80, and then it was like 32, which we didn't have clothes for that type of weather, but we were riding around on those scooters the first 2 days because it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And so if you've been in any of these major cities since the kind of birth of the Uber-ish apps and the tracking and payment capabilities, they drop off all these like motorized scooters that move pretty quick. Mine was obviously going a lot quicker than Jay's because I beat him in every race we had. However,
Which didn't happen, but go ahead.
I was thinking, what happens when it starts snowing? Is that business just a seasonal transaction? Like, those things can't be out there liability purpose when there's black ice and snow, right?
Yeah, I'm sure they're not.
Corrosion.
Yeah, I'm sure they're not.
But we use the shit out of those things.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you're going to go somewhere, have fun.
Man, that was so much fun. Okay. Well, again, this is going to be probably the last podcast, maybe one more that we do at this kind of desk table area. We're going to be remodeling, as we just recently ordered some furniture and some wall coverings and some lighting to kind of rebrand the look that people will be digesting some of our content. And I'm really anxious for that. We have a goal. I think I'm going to start putting the goals up to see, just kind of innocuously. Like, I want that 1 million impressions a month. Maybe we can hide it somewhere on the wall. Kind of like, remember the Playboy bunny was always hidden on the cover of the...
I do remember that very well. Now, you had those on your books?
I could find the Playboy bunny on the outside. You probably had a hard time finding them on the inside because all your pages were stuck together.
No, they weren't.
Yeah, they were. Okay. Is there anything else that you'd like to put on tape while we're here? Sounds really good.
It does. It really does sound good.
Yeah.
Throw down a track.
Yeah, you want to drop some bars? Wiki.
Coming live from the Boogaloo Lounge.
The Boogaloo. All right. I think that's good. So we filmed some content around the skilled trades, what it takes to be successful. If you're in high school, maybe college, maybe you started off in one position and you're like, you know what, this really isn't for me. I want to be around a culture environment where there's camaraderie. There's a lot of laughter and fun mixed in with a lot of high-level business that we're doing, whether it's on the sales side, the installation side, the content creation side. We encourage you to go to our website, myarchitecturalglass.com. You can send us direct messages. You can feel free to slide into Jay's DMs.
Got enough of that already.
Oh, let's unpack that.
Just bots.
Oh. Where are they coming from mostly?
Probably.
Chinatown?
Yeah, Uzbekistan.
All right.
I love you. Want to know you.
I love you long time. You want gel? You want gel? You're pretty like diamond in the sky. All right, well, that's going to be a wrap here on Trade Talk, Blue Collar Business Podcast, hosted by Glass Guys on the YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe, smash that alert button, and stay tuned for our next episode.
Till next time.
Peace.